SEC's leading scorer. He's coming off of a 30-burger against A&M. Longhorns in the burnt orange, Ole Miss in the home whites. Our officials tonight led by Vladimir Voyar-Tadal, Ron Gruber, and Tony Chiazzi. Fantastic atmosphere in the pavilion. Ole Miss in Texas, and we are underway. Nearly a failed tip, but it's tracked down by the veteran Matthew Morrell. Ole Miss is 14-1 against unranked opponents this season. They're coming off of a Saturday loss on the road in Columbia, Missouri. Morrell fouled on his way to the rim. And Dane Bradshaw, that was a key part of Chris Beard's shoot-around today.
Yeah, no coincidence that Matthew Morrell goes straight towards the rim. They wanted a design drive, go hard, initiate the contact. They must get better at getting themselves to the line. In conference play, Tom, they are dead last in the SEC at points from the free throw line.
So here's Morrell, fifth-year senior from Memphis, bricks the first.
Here's Matthew Morrell. I mean, if he can add this to his game as Mark puts his hands all over his wrist there, this could be a game changer for Ole Miss. Great mid-range guy, great shooter from deep. Just got to get in there and initiate the contact. Well done.
1 of 2 from the free throw line for Morrell. Here's a look at the starters for the Texas Longhorns. Jordan Pope runs the point. He only played 20 minutes in the game against A&M. They'll run Julian Larry out there to help run the offense. Larry was sensational against the Aggies. Trey Johnson going baseline. That is his move, and he finger rolls it in.
Ole Miss does so much switching that Johnson does a nice job saying, okay, you're going to put your center on me. I'm going to blow by him. Help came over way too late.
Skip pass to Jalen Murray. His floater goes in and out. And the rebound controlled by Caden Shedrick. Arthur Kaluma is in the starting lineup for Texas tonight. He missed the game with a knee injury against A&M. Pope's floater falls out, and he gives Texas a much-needed boost on the interior. Here's Dre Davis. He's back from injury. Didn't play against Mizzou. Puts up an air ball from 6 feet. Tremont Mark lets it fly. Shedrick on the glass. Neither one of these teams puts a heck of a lot of effort into their offensive rebounds. Kaluma with a mismatch, guarded by Padula, trying to get him into the paint. Here's Pope from the corner. Slow start from deep for the Longhorns, and then a foul 93 feet. Oh, it's going the other way.
Well, and here's Trey Johnson on that opening possession. He gets the switch, and he gets a big man and says, you know what, I love my mid-range, but if you're going to put a big man on me, let me make you pay. And Ole Miss must bring help over sooner if you're going to switch with your 5-man on Trey Johnson.
Did you just say sooner in a Texas game? That is outlawed, my friend. Another Ole Miss turnover. Trey Johnson and the Longhorns on the offensive glass again, and the result is a foul on Sean Padula. Doesn't seem to be much of a sense of urgency for this Ole Miss team here in the early going. A squad that's lost 3 in a row.
Yeah, you better match the urgency with Shedrick, 5 for Texas. I mean, this guy, what he brings to the table is offensive rebounds. In conference play, he's getting 3 offensive boards a game. He's already got 2 and then created a loose ball that led to the dead ball situation. So he's creating 3 new opportunities for Texas less than 2 minutes into this game.
Shedrick for Kaluma. Shot like a 10. Nice feed inside, and a 2-hand jam by Caden Shedrick.
Well, he deserves it. He's created the extra opportunities, and that time he gets rewarded for it. Nice pick and roll. When your 4-man can pass your 5-man out of the ball screen, that's pretty special skill set.
Damon Brakefield getting the start for Ole Miss. Here's Morrell. Tries to drive, gets cut off. Now Malik Dia, who's been up and down this season for the Rebels. Turnaround, fadeaway off the front of the rim. Pope has a chance to push it.
And they want to push it before that Ole Miss defense can get set.
Longhorns 0 for 3 from 3 so far. Kaluma. It's a hand check from Matthew Morrell.
Let's take a look at this unique pick and roll. I mean, what a luxury it is to have your 4-man and 5-man be able to do a little ball screen action up top And Diaz got to recover with active hands. Hands in passing lanes. That's a big reason why the Ole Miss Rebels have been so great at forcing turnovers. That time they let their guard down.
Devon Barnes into the game for the first time for Ole Miss. Padula will take a seat. And Jamin Brakefield trying to guard Kaluma, who slips past him. Here's Mark. This match with Dia. Plays in the post. Kaluma got it. A really good shooting team for Texas. They're one of the best in the SEC in field goal percentage, 5th at 48%. Here's Jalen Murray up the screen from Brakefield. Give it back to him. Very experienced Ole Miss team. Barnes shuffles for 3. And these teams combined 0 for 4 from behind the arc to start.
Texas done a good job making Ole Miss be one and done on this end.
Bullet pass knocked away. Kaluma was trying to get another assist to Shedrick. So Ole Miss brings it up, and the Rebels 0 for 4 to start this game from the floor. Jalen Murray gives Dia a touch, guarded by Shedrick. Displaces him, gets underneath, and then the foul ends up being on Shedrick. It's a first on Caden Shedrick.
Well, they're very comfortable getting Dia the ball 10 to 15 feet out away from the basket because of his versatility, as you see right there. Good pivot player. No help comes on that backside. Draws the foul.
So puts Malik Dia at the free throw line. 65% on the year. And Dia knocks one down. Got one coming for Dia. And we welcome those of you who watch Texas Tech knock off TCU in Big 12 action. This is the first ever SEC meeting between Texas and Ole Miss. Tom Hart alongside Dane Bradshaw. Slow start to this one. And Jordan Pope throws one in from the corner for the first 3 of the night for the Longhorns.
Well, great ball reversals there by Texas. They practice that in shoot around, and they do it every day. Shell passing, swinging it side to side, making the extra pass. Pays off with that corner triple.
Rebels trying to snap a 3-game losing streak against a Texas team that has won consecutive games against ranked foes. They're trying for their 3rd in a row. And in the SEC, those opportunities are plentiful. Trey Johnson lost it, but it ended up in his teammates' hands. And Zarek Onyema kicks it outside. A bullet pass inside. Onyema gets spun around and still gets it to go.
The quick ball movement by Texas has been a difference maker on that end of the court. And on this end, they've been playing lockdown defense. 0 for 5 for Ole Miss and 0 offensive rebounds for the Rebels.
Dia in traffic, gets blocked by Onyema. 11-2 lead for Texas. The Rebels of Ole Miss have yet to make a basket. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Walt Disney World Resort, the most magical place on earth.
The struggles are one thing, but don't forget, this is the #1 defense in the SEC during conference play are the Ole Miss Rebels. That is what they hang their hat on. So for Texas to put up 11 points in the first 5 minutes of this game, I think that's where the message is from Chris Beard is, hey, we got to be sharper on the offensive end, but we can't get our offense going if we're taking the ball out of the net over and over again. They must clean up the D.
Texas is +7 on the glass here early on. A 3 from Sean Padula, who last year was Virginia Tech's leading scorer, finally gets a notch in the field goal column for Ole Miss. They're just 1 for 7. Zarek Onyema draws a double team and promptly turns it over. Here's Matthew Morrell. Goes behind the back, into the rim, gets denied, and now kicks it back out. Another corner three. Back-to-back makes Dre Davis this time. Well, the Rebels just needed to get their legs under them after a paltry first 5 minutes. Ole Miss on a tear. Free ball off the mark, rebounded by the Rebels.
You see the sense of urgency they have now on the defensive end. Last one led to a 3-ball. This one they're going to get themselves to the free throw line, all because of the intensity on the defensive end. A nice job just with ball movement here. And if you're Texas, you've got to recover fine shooters. And Padula, cool, calm, collected, just Mr. Consistency. And Davis had to miss that last game, but healthy enough to give it a go today. Important player for him, part of that balanced scoring attack for Ole Miss.
Yeah, that balanced scoring means Sean Padula, who leads them at just a hair over 14 points a game, is barely in the top 15 in the SEC. One of the messages, the main message Chris Beard gave to his team at shoot-around today is we have to get to the free throw line. I need you to go hard to the rim. I need you to cut hard. I need you to attack defender and get after him. And Dre Davis has one more coming his way. The disparity at the free throw line has cost Ole Miss over the last 3 games.
It has. There's no question about it. And already 3 of 5 at the line. So you said it, Tom. I mean, this was a huge point of emphasis. You've got to seek out the contact, make the ref blow the whistle, and they can complain. And Chris Beard's going to say, no excuses, guys. We got to go in there, be the more physical team, make the officials blow the whistle. So far in this one, despite some slip-ups on the defensive end, offensively, I think they've done just that when they've gone to the rim.
This is an 8-0 Ole Miss run. A pair of threes and a pair of free throws. Julian Larry now running the point. He was fantastic against A&M on Saturday. 6 assists, 0 turnovers. Here's the league's leading scorer, just a freshman. Trey Johnson has yet to score. Parmy only has 1 bucket so far early on. And then a foul against Ole Miss. That's charged to Dre Davis.
Tom, Texas has missed 6 field goals, and they've gotten 4 offensive rebounds. So Ole Miss must finish these defensive possessions. It's already tough enough because they switch so much. And Texas is they got some interesting personnel, a lot of scores in that backcourt. It's a challenge to guard them all. Got to finish it.
Tomorrow, 2 great women's matchups for you. Superstar Flau'jae Johnson and number 7 LSU play host the 13th ranked Sooners. 7 Eastern, 6 Central on ESPN2, and on ESPN 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central. Audie Crooks and Iowa State take on 11th ranked Kansas State. Should be another great night of women's hoops. Shedrick at the free throw line, and Texas up 2. The Texas team that led this game 11-2. Ole Miss coming off of an 83-75 loss at Missouri. Their 3-point defense left something to be desired. Here's Brakefield going behind his back. Nice spin, and the veteran off the window.
And they like that matchup. When Kent is out there, they want to make him half the perimeter, and Brakefield is such a mismatch nightmare because he can post your smaller guards and he can take your bigger players off the bounce.
Mentioned Missouri's 3-point shooting. Tamar Bates and Caleb Grill combined to go 10 for 16 from deep. Longhorns don't get a shot off as Larry commits a turnover.
Brakefield, such a tough cover. I mean, he's got the 3-pointer, got the spin, and again, we've said it several times. This is a guy that shoots with his left on the perimeter, and then as soon as he gets in the paint, he really becomes a right-hand dominant player. It's a tough, awkward cover if you're a defender.
Here's Padula working on Pope. Sean Padula left it short. Tremont Mark had the game winner for Texas to beat A&M on Saturday. The 4th game winner of his college career. He's hit him for Houston, Arkansas, and now Texas.
Tom, Texas has been operating this offense way outside the NBA 3-point line since that first media timeout. Chris Beard had something to say to them, and message received.
Tipped in. Might be Jason Kent that gets credit for that one. Really 2 point guards on the floor right now for Ole Miss with Jalen Murray and Sean Padula. turnaround. Tough shot for Dia. I don't think he realized that he was all alone after the pump fake. Tight one here in the for the first time, and he's also facing a lot of guys on his former staff, including Rodney Terry, who he convinced to leave UTEP as a head coach to come take a job as an assistant with the Longhorns. And Rodney talked to us about Beard today. He said, listen, we're very good friends. We still talk regularly, and I owe a lot to him in that without him, I wouldn't, A, be in this place regardless. This was the meeting pregame between Beard and RT. And he said, I thought my best path to a Power 5 job was to leave UTEP as a head coach and come work for Beard because he's a brilliant basketball mind, and I knew we were going to win a lot of games. So Rodney took over as the interim head coach in December after the incident, ended up taking him to the Elite Eight, had 2 blowout wins against Kansas, including one for the Big 12 championship. Pope off the mark. And stolen away. Matthew Morrell with the lay-in.
To piggyback on that real quick, Tom, Rodney Terry really applauded the staff that Chris Beard was able to assemble at Texas, including Chris Ogden, who works sort of as the GM role, the NIL side of things. And what Rodney Terry was able to do in that interim, he credited to Chris Beard's system, what he learned from him as a head coach and the staff that he had working beneath him. I can't tell you how rare it is for a coach to have a head coach job at the D1 level and say, you know what, I'm going to go work for you as an assistant. Yep. He felt like he could go further in his career as Beard's assistant than where he was at UTEP, where he had a really pretty good squad and they were close to breaking loose.
When you mentioned former Longhorn player Chris Ogden, the general manager, he also left the head coaching position to take a role with Beard, who was an assistant on that Final Four team that Ogden played on. Here's a push by Davis and a handoff for Jalen Murray. Beard turned around Little Rock in one season. He got Texas Tech all the way to the championship game. And their Final Four trip, and basket interference would take it back the other way. Ole Miss, by the way, on that run out by Matthew Morrell, picked up its first lead of the game.
Well, as athletic as Matthew Morrell is, he's not 100%. In a packed house like this, you usually want to show out on a fast break opportunity. He chose to lay it up. He's been toughing it out here recently, has not been a full practice participant, but he's been a gamer.
I will point out that a layup versus a dunk cost them in the Mississippi State game, the overtime loss a couple of Saturdays ago, when he chose to lay it in instead of hammering it home, and it was blocked and turned into a Mississippi State 3 on the other side. Here's Trey Johnson, the leading scorer in the SEC. He's trying to become the 6th freshman all-time to lead the SEC in scoring, and he'll go to the free throw line.
Trey Johnson loves this baseline, and Ole Miss loves to send you to that baseline short corner spot. Typically, that is a place you want to send the opponent. It's a low percentage look, but for Trey Johnson, that is his hottest spot on the court. So you see why Ole Miss is trying to bring those double teams, give him different looks. They must have gone through 5 or 6 different coverages in their scheme to try to keep Trey Johnson at bay.
That was a second on Matthew Morrell. Also of note, Trey Johnson came up with a little hitch, looked like his left ankle. One of the best free throw shooters in the SEC. He was 10 for 10 in the win against Texas A&M. Trey Johnson in the last 17 minutes outscored A&M on his own, 24-18.
He was absolutely remarkable in that second half comeback win.
Finger roll, Jamin Brakefield. Texas started this game sizzling, but they've made just one of their last 6. Here's Mark, mid-range.
And that's the shot you're going to get against Ole Miss, is mid-range on that baseline. The tough assignment for Ole Miss is Texas is unique. They got multiple guys that like that area.
Here's Brakefield. Trey Johnson tracks it down in the corner. The 30-point effort against A&M was the best for a Texas freshman since Durant's final game as a Longhorn, and now he picks up an assist on the dunk by Shedrick.
Here's what I love about that play, Tom. Trey Johnson has not been using the pick and roll opportunity efficiently at all. He typically waves them off or it leads to a double team. That time he attacks it, leads to an open dunk.
Arthur Kaluma back in action, missed the A&M game with a knee injury, had a calf injury the week before against Florida. And he's back in the starting lineup tonight. Mark, size advantage, gives it up. Larry, guarded by Padula. Kaluma lets it fly and cashes it in. He's not a high-volume three-point shooter, but the former Creighton Blue Jay and Kansas State Wildcat can knock him down. Klafke gets it ripped from behind by Tremont Mark. Ahead of the pack, and he blows the jam. Picked up by Brakefield. Ole Miss with the numbers. Klafke turns it over, intercepted by Johnson.
Tremont Mark's like, man, I should have stayed down there.
Yes, take the easy one. A little discombobulated. Longhorns will reset. They've turned it over 4 times tonight. They turn it over fewer than 10 times a game on average. Here's Julian Larry to now Trey Johnson.
Every possession must end with a cut against this help side defense.
Trey Johnson contested deep 2. He's got 6. Nine nothing Texas run. Beautiful feed, and Murray in with the bigs at just 5'11", gets his first bucket.
It's a great cut and great pass, and Murray just stuck with the cut. He didn't just empty out too quickly. Defense got complacent.
Larry into the paint. Kaluma touch pass, and Trey Johnson got it.
Woo. He's feeling it, man. It is carrying over from that second half at the Moody Center. This freshman is special.
Only 5 times in SEC history has a freshman led the league in scoring. We've actually seen it a few times over the last decade. Brakefield has it rejected, got it back, trying to find position. Instead, he finds Murray for the triple. And the effort by Ole Miss keeps the ball in the Rebels' hands. And we got a timeout on the floor. 28-19, Texas in front.
Trey Johnson is feeling it right now. This confident freshman can hurt you from anywhere. The pick and roll, great pocket pass to the big man, and then how about the mid-range shot? Good defense, better offense, and then a wide open corner 3. Forget about it. Trey Johnson loves the road.
John Calipari returns to the Bluegrass, and he's got an impeccable resume. However, since COVID, 1 SEC tournament win, 1 NCAA tournament win. Felt like the right move to get to Arkansas. Now that he's trying to win games without his top player, Boogie Fland, out for the year.
Well, whatever viewers are doing on February 1st, any other plans besides sitting in front of the TV, cancel them. I mean, that is the best slate of games I think we might have all season.
Barnes with a chicken wing push-off picks up the foul. It's his first. Texas on a 9-0 run, their second 9-0 run tonight. The Longhorns have hit 5 of their last 6 shots after going 1 for 6 previously. Chris Beard's defense has been kind of hit or miss tonight.
I think if you're Rodney Terry, try to get Trey Johnson the ball, knowing they'll switch and get to a favorable matchup. Let them go one-on-one.
Mentioned it earlier, Texas starting its defense way deep. Kaluma has the pass tip. Pope, scoring guard, banks it in. It's the largest lead of the game for Texas. We got a foul on the shot. They're going to count the basket, and Pope going to the line for a 3-point chance.
I don't know if that was on the free throw, or excuse me, on the rebound. I think it was. And as long as he was in the shooting motion, since it was on the defense, they'll count it and get the ball.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't on Pope's defender. So Mikael Brown-Jones. Hey, Johnson's 3 is off. Texas on the offensive glass again.
They just got to be alert to give up an open corner 3 to the hottest shooting guard right now in conference.
Pope goes one-on-one. Where does Ole Miss want to go offensively?
Well, they're a very balanced team. And I think some of the emphasis, while they have gotten themselves to the free throw line, they're 5 of 8 there. A lot of it, they want to be able to post up on that 10 to 15 feet off the block and work through guys like Dia or Brakefield.
Ole Miss just 6 for 20 to start this game. I say start. We're now almost 15 minutes into it. They're 11th in the SEC in scoring fewer than 78 points a game. Dia had a mouse in the house. Padula goes the other way. Brown-Jones blows the bunny. Chance for the Longhorns to run. Pope off the glass and a foul throwdown by Pryor.
Pryor is earning himself more minutes in this rotation. He has just been extremely solid offensively, and you see the effort there to chase down the missed layup.
Trey Johnson working hard with Dia, trying to keep up with him. Late to get out to the perimeter, and Padula makes him pay.
Yeah, they outsmarted themselves there, did Texas. They were trying to switch back to get the matchup they wanted, but it took too long, leaving Padula just enough time to get it off.
That ends a 7-0 Texas run. The Longhorns have had runs of 9-0, 9-0, and 7-0. Shedrick gets a touch. It turns in 18 feet away. Shot clock at 10. Here's Trey Johnson. Gets into the paint, got a bump, goes down, and he'll be shooting 1-on-1.
See how quick Jordan Pope is out ahead of this break. I mean, this guy's a jet, and he gets that extra gear, gets it up off the glass, and Pryor takes care of the rest. But even that right there, I mean, Coach Beard's going to say, hey, why is he beating us to that offensive rebound opportunity? Dia and others need to sprint back with a sense of urgency, clean that up. Because the first shot defense hasn't been terrible for Ole Miss, but they've given up 8 offensive rebounds.
So another one coming for Trey Johnson, who's hit 18 of his last 19 free throws. True freshman from Garland, Texas. Number 2 recruit in the country. Went to Lincoln Academy down in Branson, Missouri for 1 year before coming to Texas. And Rodney Terry said, we kind of treated that year at Link like it was his year in college. And now this year in college, like his first year in the pros, because he'll be one and done. Likely lottery pick and in the discussion for one of the top picks in the draft.
And he's part of an offense that can be very explosive here is Texas. I think one of the challenges they've had is just chemistry. They have a lot of type A guys, score first players, but when they're all hitting, man, they are a tough cover.
Here's Padula again with a hand in his face. Big time shot for Sean Padula, who has improved incredibly as a defensive player. Always has had the knack to knock down shots.
Averaged 16 a year ago, and he's coming in the SEC, in the toughest league in the country, and doing the same thing.
Kaluma went down after his 3 attempt, and the loose ball, Padula chased after it.
Virginia Tech transfer, Sean Padula, he is just shot ready. He comes off that ready to shoot the ball, catch and stick. And because he's got such a good shot fake, Tom, you have to respect that. And a lot of guys will fly after it. You've got to be aware of it. That allows him to get a clean look.
Second on Shedrick. He takes a seat. Corner 3. Falls off and went off of Ole Miss.
Well, I think Ole Miss needs to keep getting Padula the ball, because not only has he been making shots, but his penetration has been elite. They've been unable to convert a couple times when he has gotten right into the heart of the defense, but it's a good look for the Rebels.
Rebels have made 4 of 10 from deep. Padula is a perfect 3 for 3. Julian Larry gets to the paint. Here's Pryor. Tough 2. This is a tough 2 team.
I mean, we've seen it on both baselines there. The mid-range baseline off the bounce. That is a shot you want your opponent to shoot, unless you're playing Texas. They're unique. That's their strength.
There's some great teams in college basketball. They're just broken the analytic models. Michigan State #1 in that regard. But if you can knock down those shots, you can be efficient at it. You can throw the numbers in disarray. Trey Davis, just a 33% three-point shooter, has knocked down a couple of them tonight. And Ole Miss has closed it to 8.
Good to see him back for Chris Beard.
Kaluma. Baseline mid-range.
Yeah, I mean, that's a different one. That's your big man off the bounce fadeaway. That's not within the offense.
Three ball off the mark. And Larry did a great job blocking out Trey Davis with a size disadvantage. Longhorns up 8 late in the first half. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by USAA, proudly serving the military community and their families. All right, thank you, gentlemen. Big time matchup tonight. Texas with an 8-point lead over Ole Miss. Scottie Pippen is in the building tonight. He shares an agency with Chris Beard. Thought was he might be looking to get into coaching. His son, Scottie Pippen Jr., doing a great job with the Grizzlies. And so Scottie was here watching practice and shoot around today. Ran into his buddy Tim Floyd, who was very nearly his head coach with the Bulls, but timing didn't work out for either one of them. A foul on Zarek Onyema. By the way, you have history with Scottie Pippen. Didn't you go to his camp at Central Arkansas?
It was almost 30 years ago the last time I met him as an 11-year-old. I drove from Memphis to Conway, Arkansas, at Central Arkansas, and I told him, I said, hey, I was heartbroken, man. I thought if I could get MVP, you'd give me the award and we'd become, you know, friends.
You held up your end of the bargain. You won MVP.
Yeah, I did. I got MVP, and the Central Arkansas assistant coach was there to give me the award. Scottie had taken the early flight back to Chicago. I ripped all my posters down, and first F-bomb of my life was followed by Scottie Pippen's name.
Padula, surrounded by Kent, still got it off, and then a foul underneath is going to go against Tremont Mark. That's his second on the veteran for the Longhorns. 8-point Texas lead. He had a big smile on his face when you shared that story with him today.
I did.
Then he caught a flight to Chicago.
That's right. Yeah.
I've heard enough from this Bradshaw guy.
I don't think he cared too much. I love watching his son. Yeah. You know, as an 11-year-old, I thought maybe I should catch him. Give him a little bit of slack. Yeah. I was a little bit obsessive. I knew his favorite book was Roots. If he didn't play in the NBA, he wanted to be an astronaut. Favorite color is blue. Do you think maybe I was a little bit, maybe too stalkerish?
You may have been obsessed.
Yeah.
Jamin Brakefield at the free throw line for Ole Miss. Rebels fought back about the 10-minute mark of the first half to claim the lead. It went back and forth a couple of times, but the Longhorns have had too many offensive outbursts and big runs here in the first half.
Well, we started with the open, Tom. I wondered about the maturity Texas would have. This is a relatively new team. They've got a freshman in Trey Johnson as their leading scorer. How would they handle success? 2 top 25 wins. Now you go on the road. Would you be the team that gets complacent with success, or the team with the chip on their shoulder? They played like the team with the chip on their shoulder.
It started with a home win against Missouri, and Arthur Kaluma, after that win against the Tigers, said, I really felt like we grew up as a team in this game. Here's Kaluma with the ball in his hands. Trey Johnson, beautiful pass late in the clock, and even better block. Here's Trey Davis. Brakefield got a bump from Kent, and it's his second. And the former Sycamore from Indiana State, Jason Kent.
Well, you can make up for a lot of mistakes with big-time effort. And that's what happens here with Ole Miss. They can leave a guy open. Davis says, no problem, I'm going to recover. And then beat them down the court to, again, get themselves to the free throw line. And that's Chris Beard basketball right there with that effort and intensity.
So here's Jamin Brakefield at the free throw line. Knocks down the first. By the way, in case you missed it, fantastic article by Gary Parrish of CBS on Brakefield and what he's accomplished off the court after he transferred here from Duke. 5-point Texas lead.
Amazing young man is Jamin Brakefield. I remember talking with Kermit Davis after his tenure, and he said, man, if there's one guy that I really want to see have success and root for, as he did all his players, it's Jamin Brakefield. He just went on and on about what a great kid he is and how much he helps in the community, and Gary Parrish captures that wonderfully in his article.
Well, we ran into Kermit Davis last night, still makes his home here in Oxford. He and Tim Floyd holding court at City Grocery. What a pair of storytellers those guys are. Tough turnaround. And then a Texas takeaway. Ole Miss has been sloppy tonight.
Trey Johnson, others, they got to look for that late cutter. That's what you have to do against this help side defense. There you go.
Contact on that putback, but wouldn't go for Nick Cody. Padula behind the back, finds the pass. Ole Miss on a 9-0 run. And Sean Padula has the Rebels within a bucket again.
That is sick right there. How sweet is this? Boom, right between two defenders with the behind the back. Sean Padula captured some momentum for the Rebels. But some of the attention to detail has been lacking, leaving some open shooters. But when they have locked in, they've been able to get some scoring droughts for Texas. And Ole Miss is okay in the half-court offense. They just got to get some of those transition buckets. And when they want to get to the free throw line more, a big way to get there is when the defense is backpedaling and you initiate the contact.
Giving the crowd an opportunity to get back into it. Kaluma going one-on-one. Powers his way in, and Arthur Kaluma extends the Texas lead. Shot clock off.
Excuse me, wanted an and one there. I thought opportunity for a blocking foul.
Padula has a game-high 11. Guarded by Trey Johnson. Clock now 9. Padula at 7. A lot of traffic at 4. Padula ball fake, got Cody in the air. And Texas pulls down the miss. The Longhorns hit the half with a 4-point lead. They're looking for their 3rd straight win against a ranked opponent. Ole Miss closes the 9-2 run in the last 3:18 to get us to this point. Lots of breakdown tonight, including Auburn's perfect start in SEC play. Let's get to the studio. Dallas, Seth, Sean, gentlemen.
Cool. But some of the attention to detail has been lacking, leaving some open shooters. But when they have locked in, they've been able to get some scoring droughts for Texas. And Ole Miss is okay in the half-court offense. They just got to get some of those transition buckets. And when they want to get to the free throw line more, a big way to get there is when the defense is backpedaling and you initiate the contact.
Giving the crowd an opportunity to get back into it. Kaluma going one-on-one. Powers his way in, and Arthur Kaluma extends the Texas lead. Shot clock off.
Excuse me, wanted an and one there. I thought opportunity for a blocking foul.
Padula has a game-high 11. Guarded by Trey Johnson. Clock now 9. Padula at 7. A lot of traffic at 4. Padula ball fake, got Cody in the air. And Texas pulls down the miss. The Longhorns hit the half with a 4-point lead. They're looking for their 3rd straight win against a ranked opponent. Ole Miss closes the 9-2 run in the last 3:18 to get us to this point. Lots of breakdown tonight, including Auburn's perfect start in SEC play. Let's get to the studio. Dallas, Seth, Sean, gentlemen.
Thank you, Tom. Welcome into our ESPN College Basketball Studio. We will start you with the highlights in the conference. Alabama taking on Mississippi State, the only ranked v ranked matchup today. Josh Hubbard getting open. Coach, Jill's triple.
Josh Hubbard doing a great job of using that shot fake, a little sidestep, knocks down that big three. He's a dynamic offensive player.
Mark Sears got benched and missed the second half of that game against LSU. Has come out and really did a nice job early, established himself at the point guard position, finding assists.
You saw him doing it from deep, and he did the nice behind the back move towards the end of the half that got this crowd on its feet. And right now, Ole Miss, if they can become more connected on the defensive end and finish possessions, they gave up way too many offensive rebounds in that first half, and get back to Chris Beard's defense, where they've been holding teams to 40% in the top defense in conference play, they'll win this game and defend the home court.
Yeah, that has been turned on its ear tonight, with Texas shooting 46% in the first half. Ray Johnson guarded by the veteran Matthew Morrell on the right wing. He directs traffic from there. Jordan Pope getting it started for the Longhorns. A win against their rivals at home on Saturday. They only held one lead in that game against A&M. It came on Tremont Marks' game winner with about 3 seconds to go. Quick double on the baseline to Kaluma. There's the adjustment for Ole Miss. It turns into a takeaway. Morrell gives it up. Jalen Murray finds Padula. And now back to Murray. Sidewinder three, good.
And even though Texas got back, they were still scrambling and in rotation. That's as good as a transition look right there. Great job, Padula, once again with the penetration and kick.
11 Ole Miss points off 6 Texas turnovers. 17-footer for Tremont Mark.
Let him get to that strong hand and pull up and rise. That's not what you want if you're Ole Miss.
Padula guarded by Trey Johnson. Finds Dia. Dia with the good body control. That's his first field goal of the game. He led him in scoring in the Missouri loss on Saturday with 17. Their physical play with Kaluma. Hand fighting with Davis. Shot clock at 7. Contested long jumper, no good. Morrell working on Mark. Davis fadeaway. Got it.
Both the last baskets have been penetrate, pitch, and then the third one, of course, previous possession with that nice lob with the empty backside.
First lead for the Rebels since the 10-15 mark of the first half.
Just really good offense in the half court by Ole Miss. I think they penetrated well. They've also been able to clean up the backside here. Dia's going to get a great look as everybody else is lifted up on the shooters on the perimeter. There is no backside help whatsoever. And then this is pretty simple basketball. If you can get a paint touch, your percentages of getting an open, good look increase considerably. And they are very comfortable shooting those mid-range jumpers at Ole Miss. Rodney Terry has been giving these officials an earful. It's the hand checks and the physicality up here on the ball that he is begging for a whistle on.
Johnson gets by Dia. Shot clock at 3. Pope challenge on the jumper, went down. Shedrick kept it alive, and it skips into the backcourt. They say no backcourt violation. Tipped by Ole Miss.
They usually call that a controlled catch, but not the case. I will say the physicality in the SEC has been getting a lot of attention, and rightfully so, because of the big, strong athletes that exist in this league. However, fouls are up 3% over last year, and SEC teams go to the free throw line more times per game than any other conference.
And that continues a trend. Last year, SEC teams were called for more fouls on average during regular season games than teams from any other power conference, and that was by a wide margin. I think one indicator that expresses the athleticism and physicality in this league is year in and year out. This is the best shot blocking league in all of college basketball. Break field. Oh, Shedrick got hit hard, had to cover up his head.
It's so hard to get a charge now as they collided there. Hopefully everyone's okay, most importantly.
Well, is the physical play a problem for individual teams, or is it just a factor in this league?
I think it's constant, and here's a, when an offensive player is airborne, the defender must establish legal guarding position prior to the offensive player's last foot touching the floor. Rarely does a secondary defender come over and get that call nowadays. I thought in that case Shedrick may have had a good case for that one, despite it being a rare call. But going back to your point, Tom, I think it is such a battle on the glass, the screens, trying to guard penetration, that oftentimes you do have a forearm on somebody. And to me, one of the biggest things that has to be watched is the hand checking and the fighting for the offensive rebounds and the defensive glass, which just shoves in the back.
Warren Young is the head athletic trainer, and he's tending to Shedrick on the bench. Got some blood inside the hairline.
And Chris Beard said it recently. He feels like the SEC has the best officials in the country, and led by Mike Eads. Sometimes I think being the head of officials is like being the head of a really tough HOA. Like, everybody's got all the answers, but nobody wants to do that job, right?
No guests, no blowers allowed, no sand allowed on the lawn. You seem like an HOA kind of guy. Turnover, Ole Miss gets the basketball back. Sitting on a 2-point lead and some emotion from Dre Davis and company.
Well, great ball pressure here, and they're just not going to let you have any easy entries. A good job by Davis. And that's specific to Trey Johnson. Anybody else, and maybe that's a cleaner handoff, but they want to deny him the ball.
How about Jamin Brakefield coming over to both guards and saying this is a play we're going to run, and he directed traffic even before the inbounds. It results in a Padula 3, and Kaluma is on the glass. He'll leave the break for Texas. Beautiful look. Left hand shove it on Yema.
Kaluma in particular has been really good with the big-to-big passing. Again, not many power forwards can thread the needle the way he has twice in this game.
Nice look from Brakefield to Davis. There's your big-to-big.
I got you, yeah. Hey, watch me. I can do it too. A point forward in Brakefield.
Rebels 4 for 5 from the floor in the second half. This is about the time Trey Johnson took over against A&M. He outscored A&M on his own in the final 17 minutes. He had 24 points in the second half on Saturday.
We've seen these bigs really throw some nice dimes and hit the other big rolling. Just a one-handed whip pass. Nobody covering up the middle. You got to try to help the helper and then recover out. And then Brakefield, nice job on that back door. I mean, you can't throw it any better than Brakefield did. Delivered it on time, on target. And Davis has really given them a huge boost. Out last game, but he's got 12 points in this one.
Here's Mark. Played in a Final Four with Houston as a freshman. Gets spun around, and the lefty left it short. Ole Miss up by 2. Here's Murray. Dia initially went into Onyema. And now Trey Johnson the other way.
Really good job finding him in transition.
Well, you got it on a string. Johnson wants it back. He's got the 5'11" Murray on. Trey Johnson is 6'6".
He doesn't like the ball screen. He'd rather just shoot over the top.
Empty possession for Texas. Here's Murray. And now Matthew Morrell, top 10 in scoring in Ole Miss history. Dia, flat-footed 3. He hits him at 27%.
He needs to see one go in. I mean, he can shoot it better than that. We saw him. He was a big part of that 4-game win streak to start conference play, and a primary reason why they had that huge win at Alabama. He was a monster.
He owned him on the glass, and Trey Johnson is able to hit 13 for him. Murray got a half step, trying to throw the lob to Dia. And the loose ball with Murray jumping on top of it causes an out of bounds that will come back this direction. Locked at 44.
Trey Johnson has such a high IQ as a scorer. I mean, he realizes for the second time this game, he's had the big man on him, and he loves to pull up mid-range, but he says, I'm not going to settle when I got a big man. I'm going to make him move his feet. Smart play by the freshman.
We have seen some sensational freshman scorers in this league. 5 times a freshman has led the league in scoring, including Jim Nolan when Georgia Tech was in the SEC back in the mid-40s. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf at LSU dropped 30 a game, and Trey Johnson's trying to join that company. That family has a long history with Texas head coach Rodney Terry. Take you back to the fall of '96. His dad Richard was a freshman at Baylor with Rodney Terry as an assistant coach. Rodney was just a 27-year-old on Henry Miller's staff at the time, their first season in the Big 12. Dad would eventually transfer to Division II Midwestern State, become a 1,000-point scorer. And then Rodney Terry discovered Trey Johnson once again. They were recruiting Cason Wallace at an event. Trey was a few years younger, and he called Richard after the game and said, "You got one?" He said, "I do?" He goes, "Yeah." "Oh, you got one." Great article by Kristen Peak from Hoops HQ.
Yeah, great story there. And what a cool full circle to have them both play for the same guy. And Trey Johnson, he has been so good as a freshman, but also right now, typically freshmen hit a wall. And Darby Rich, their strength and conditioning coach, has him prepared for the toughest, most physical league in the country, and he's only getting better as the season goes on. A testament to his work ethic.
He did say this week when talking about lifting weights, he goes, "I like to lift weights," and he was asked, "What about the bench press?" He's like, "Nah, I ain't trying to do that." Everybody has their limitations, I suppose. Saturday on the SEC Network, quadruple header of men's basketball games starting 1 Eastern, noon Central. Final game of the day. South Carolina looking for its first conference win. They play host to Wade Taylor IV and number 13 A&M. A&M got a big win last night against Oklahoma, and with about 30 seconds left in that game, up 6. Buzz Williams fouled up 6, something that we're seeing J.J. Redick and the Lakers talk about, something at the NBA level, and now creeping down to the college game.
Yeah, it makes sense. I've seen teams lose quite a few times where you're up 6, the other team comes down, jacks a desperation 3, and next thing you know, it's a 1-possession game. So the point is, hey, maybe foul, and even if they make both free throws, you still have a 2-possession game. Interesting strategy.
Oklahoma last night missed both free throws, and talking to coaches about that strategy, and you know, the top concern about that is how good are you as a rebounding team? And obviously A&M elite on the offensive end, but generally very good on both sides. Here's Murray. Ole Miss was out a field goal, now nearing 3 minutes. Shot clock at 9. Davis for 3. Nope. Onyema on the glass. Ole Miss has a host of scorers on their team. They're one of 2 teams in the country, Minnesota being the other, with 7 1,000-point career scores. Texas has 5. Here's Pope for 3. But Texas, as Pope knocks it down, is full of scores, and Ole Miss, partially because they're their defense-oriented team and the pace they play. Here's Padula. He's turned in their leading scorer, and he's got 4 threes in this one.
Every time Texas has thrown a punch or a run, Ole Miss has had the answer, and more times than not, it's been because of Padula. There he is.
And he picks up the illegal screen on Onyema. It's the 3rd on Onyema. It's a turnover for Texas. And Ole Miss with a chance for the lead after the Longhorns' 8th turnover.
This kid is tough as nails, has 8 siblings. You got no choice but to be tough. It's one, not only his skill set, but his background and upbringing that Chris Beard said, "I got to get you in Oxford." And this is how you fight over a screen there. And if you get too wide outside of that shoulder width apart, they're going to call an illegal screen. But that all starts with ball pressure.
And he has really developed as a defender. Talking with folks around the program, when he first showed up, his coaching staff said, "Man, we got a lot of work to do with this guy on the defensive end." Now he's 2nd in the SEC in steals per game. Padula trying to shake Pryor. Good closeout. Brakefield puts it on the deck. Tries to spin on Mark. A little contact on that one. Here's Kaluma again. Ray Johnson, the leading scorer on the bench at the moment. Couple ball fakes and a lean in. There are no gimmies in this league.
It seems like both teams have kind of figured each other out, right? I mean, it's kind of be able to guard the ball. Can you guard the penetration and own your one-on-one matchup?
Both teams are shooting 50% or less at the rim. Stop by, grab a book, and then hit City Grocery, downtown Oxford. Joakim Noah and Billy Donovan's back-to-back national champs.
It's a big-time rivalry there. I can remember my senior night against Florida. The late, great Pat Summitt was in her cheerleading outfit as part of the cheerleading. Help me out. What's the word?
It's a pyramid.
The pyramid.
Yeah.
Thank you. A new tower wasn't right. so I stayed away from it until I just admitted guilt.
Another win tonight for Auburn, maybe the best team in all of college basketball. They're atop the SEC standings. Padula with the shake and bake. He's got 16.
He is putting on a show. I'm telling you, they can't keep him out of the lane. And then when you do get him to pick up his dribble, he's so crafty with that pump fake.
He's got a season high 16. Career high is 33 that came against Miami in an ACC game last January. Marcus had a hard time finding his rhythm. Here's Larry left wide open. Just 35% from three. Hasn't made one in conference play. Brakefield left his feet. And an empty possession for Ole Miss, leading by 2.
Got stuck in there.
Here's Pryor for 3. Mark on the glass. Remember, Texas had a 22-point comeback on Saturday against Texas A&M, tied for the largest known comeback in Texas basketball history. Still no Trey Johnson on the floor. Kaluma finger roll.
That is a strong take. Going to the left, seeing the help defender come over, and he just bullies his way to the basket.
Ray Johnson makes his way in front of us. We'll be checking in at the next dead ball. Murray. Defended by Larry. Here come the Longhorns the other way. Lob. Oh, and a finish.
Ole Miss's decision-making offensively must be better. I mean, we've seen Brakefield with a couple ill-advised decisions. Murray goes in with really a no-pass possession. Try to get 3 and white the ball. Good things are happening when he puts it on the deck.
Guarded by the 6'7" Pryor.
There you go.
Beautiful pass. And a trip to the free throw line coming. That is the 4th personal on Shedrick.
Well, Texas is going to get 2 buckets in different ways here. This is a tough 2 right through the contact. And then after the bad shot by Murray, nobody is really back in transition. When your point guard falls down, typically you are very vulnerable on the back end. And great job by Texas being opportunistic on the fast break.
So puts Barnes at the free throw line. Barnes is 67% shooter. We got a couple of line changes ready to hit the ice here in a moment. One more coming for Barnes. It's his first point. 2 great women's matchups for you tomorrow. Flauze Johnson, number 7 LSU, play host to Reagan Beers in 13th ranked OU at 7 Eastern, 6 Central on ESPN2. On ESPN, it's a Big 12 matchup. Iowa State heads to Little Apple to take on number 11 Kansas State. All games, as always, available on the ESPN app. Another one coming for Barnes. David Barnes has a couple. It's out of 51. Pope has had an inefficient night. He was 2 for 10. Hey, Johnson got checked trying to run that Iverson cut. Shedrick's got to be careful. He's in foul trouble. He's playing with 4. Guarding Dia. And Dia doesn't attack. Just settles for a jumper. Dia averaging 16 shots the last 2 games. Uses 1 for 5 tonight. Shedrick's playing with a bloody lip. He's got a bloody head.
They want to clear out on Dia once again.
Johnson, step back, short. Padula will lead it. 3-on-2. Padula going to the line.
They got the switch late, and Dia does a nice job just holding his ground. Johnson, low shot clock, may have settled from deep. They didn't have quite the spacing they had before, and then Padula goes down. He's just been so smart. I mean, there's guys on this court that might have a longer and more impressive professional career than Padula, but he has been the best player on the court so far tonight.
Planks the first. He's got one more coming. Sean Padula said he wanted to come to Ole Miss to win games and to play for a championship. Virginia Tech, they won the ACC tournament his freshman year. And he turned into the leading scorer. And you talk to a lot of these guys who make a move, what they consider making a move up. And that changes the role a little bit. But Padula's playing tonight like he's still a Hokie in terms of being the go-to guy in the offensive end. Julian Larry has it tipped from behind. Padula the steal. Morrell brings it out. Here's Padula for three. I don't think Matthew Morrell is anywhere close to 100% because if he's healthy, he takes that straight to the rim.
He is toughing it out right now. You're exactly right. One of the more explosive athletes. Even when he has caught the ball in the half court, usually he's looking to do one or two dribbles and pull up. He really has not looked for his shot. Just him being out there showing the effort he has been really inspiring, even if he's not the same offensive player.
He averages 11 a game. He's got 3 tonight. Padula picks up Kaluma. Kaluma trying to muscle in, banks it in.
That's been a good look for them. It's been difficult, but he has made it look easy. First on the left side, that time on the right side.
Deep penetration for Dre Davis. Pryor picks him up. Craig Field.
That's a great scouting report by Texas. He loves to spin when he gets in the lane, and they are not biting for any fakes or falling for the spin moves.
Johnson got a step on Padula, then reaches in from behind. That is the third on Sean Padula. Arthur Kaluma going to work for the Longhorns.
This guy's seen it all. He's played the Big East, the Big 12, and the SEC. So he is ready for contact at the rim. Big time finish there. Defensive possessions. In that first half, they gave up 10 offensive rebounds to the Rebels. Second half so far, just 3 for Texas.
Well, one thing that Ole Miss is doing a great job of, even though they're not shooting the ball well tonight, is protecting it. They came in 11th in the country and through the 10 turnovers a game. To this point, Ole Miss has only coughed it up 4 times. And a big part of that, as Ken Palm notes, is their non-steal turnovers, just being sloppy with the basketball.
Look at them denying Johnson over here on the right. They're not going to let him get it. He loves to post up over there.
As David Barnes, and they come up with a block shot by Davis. Here's Barnes leading the break now. Gets into Johnson and draws the foul.
I mean, that was perfect defense by Ole Miss. And they went through this in shoot-around. They said, Trey Johnson is going to try to post you up. He will keep trying over and over again. Keep denying. Help is coming. And then ultimately Pope says, I can't get it to you. Let me take it on myself. And nice job there by Davis getting a piece of the ball.
So David Barnes at 67% is perfect tonight, though. 2 for 2. Senior from Memphis at Collierville High School and went to Texas Southern. And then Sam Houston State has got one more coming. He was second team All-Conference USA last year and led him in scoring 13.5 a game.
Look at the free throws, advantage Rebels. I mean, that has been a key contributor to their 3-game losing streak. But in terms of that category, Coach Beard has been able to right the ship.
Well, and he stressed in shoot-around today that it's about their style of play. He said, we're going to have to make them blow the whistle. He put the onus on the players to be aggressive, especially on the offensive end. Good recovery by Brakefield. Kaluma tied up. Walked with it. I got a foul before the walk.
Better job by Ole Miss bringing that help sooner when Kaluma puts it on the deck, making him see bodies and have to handle it in traffic. Previously, he was able to get all the way to the rim, just help coming too late. Nice job by Davis, despite the foul. But clearly, Rodney Terry says, hey, I like Kaluma with a little one-on-one right near the elbow.
We got another old-fashioned SEC throwdown as Shedrick gets another flush, and Texas is back up by 1.
What a play by Rodney Terry. They do all the misdirection and action, looking like they're trying to get a corner three, and Shedrick slips it at the last second.
Nearly 5 minutes since Ole Miss has made a bucket. Davis lowered his shoulder and got to the rim.
He's been huge. 14 points now for a team that has a lot of balanced scoring, but with Matthew Morrell not himself offensively, they need somebody else to step up. Davis has done so.
We have had 8 ties and 14 lead changes. Pope. Nope. Padula the board. Padula with the screen for Barnes. Brakefield working on the freshman Trey Johnson. Spins on him, banks it in.
Johnson is really good offensively, but he's still learning defensively. That's a matchup they wanted to exploit with that ISO opportunity.
Rebels lead by 3. Trey Johnson is able to get the whistle on the drive. The Texas bench insists that should count, and they'll count it.
Well, here's Brakefield going to back down the freshman, spin back. So good with that right when he gets in that painted area.
And Trey Johnson going to the free throw line to try and make a 3-point play.
The key there, did he have an upward shooting motion when the foul occurred? And that's a little bit of continuation. That's not quite the rule as it stands today.
He'll get it every time next year.
Yep.
Third on Matthew Morrell. And so Morrell will take his seat. Trey Johnson has a chance to tie it. He was perfect from the free throw line. 10 for 10 on his way to career high 30 against Texas A&M. What a scene at the Moody Center on Saturday. Texas only led in that game once, and they led when it mattered. 16 now for Johnson. Jalen Murray calls out the play. The Texas bench answers with its scouting report for the play. Here's Brakefield. There are no secrets in this league, are there? Pump fake, got Shedrick in the air, and it counts. And that's the 5th on Caden Shedrick.
You just have to know on Brakefield, you must stay down. When he gets in there off 2 feet, he will pump fake over and over again until you bite.
And my mistake, that is number 4 on Shedrick.
He gets just that second pump fake. He is so patient in the lane. You have to be the second guy off the ground if you're the defender. You don't jump till he does.
So Jamin Brakefield going to the free throw line. Mentioned the great story by Gary Parrish. Jamin Brakefield using his NIL money for good. Had a teenager named Brandon at his previous stop, and he brought Brandon with him right here to Oxford. 12 now for Brakefield. Ole Miss with a 3-point advantage. Longhorns had a 13-point first half lead. Dre Davis gets whistled for the reaching about midway at midcourt. Well, this is great article, as I mentioned, by Gary Parrish. This is Brandon Hill. Jamin Brakefield said, you know, I had people in my life reach out to help me out when my father wasn't at home, and he recognized the same with Brandon Hill. And now each and every morning, Jamin Brakefield drives Brandon to school, sits through those carpool lines like a normal parent,
Unbelievable. I mean, this guy doesn't do good deeds for attention. He just does it because it's the right thing and goes above and beyond.
Tipped it away. Morrell comes up with it, shares it, and the jam. Trey Davis extends the Ole Miss lead. Rebels up by 5. It started with Brakefield creating the turnover. Morrell, unselfish, gives it up. And it's the largest lead of the night for Ole Miss. Well, turnover is a big part of what Chris Beard produces defensively, and that is played into Ole Miss's hands tonight.
Oh, there's no question that has keyed this recent run as they've been able to get out in transition. And this was a huge play by Brakefield. Just a nice poke away there on the crossover. Morrell, despite being less than 100%, pushes a fast break. And Davis has been all over the place. You see the emotion as they recognize what an opportunity they have in front of them to get off that 3-game losing streak. And Tom, this is a team that turns opponents over on 23% of their possession. That's 9th best in the country. And so it's no coincidence that is why this crowd is on fire right now.
13 points off turnovers tonight for Ole Miss. Texas basketball coming out of the timeout. How quickly does it touch Trey Johnson's hands?
Yeah, quickly, but I think you also need to find a way to get Ole Miss to do some switching because they switch 1 through 5, and so can you get a favorable matchup and then attack?
Onyema trying to go high-low with Kaluma. Nearly lost it. Here's Trey Johnson for 3, and he's fouled. David Barnes commits a cardinal sin, fouling a 3-point shooter in a 5-point game. Trey Johnson going to the line.
Well, they start him on the opposite wing, and this is all a set play to bring him over to the ball side and run offense out of that post by Kaluma. So he comes over there prepared to shoot. That's what the play called for. And cardinal sin of fouling a 3-point shooter.
Free throw shooting was a big part of Trey Johnson's second half in the win against A&M. It included a moment where A&M got teed up for having 6 men on the court. Trey Johnson hit both free throws and then followed that up with a 3. Part of a 22-point comeback.
His free throw routine is like the anti-Giannis. No dribbles, just gets it up. I mean, he gets this thing off in 1 second.
Hey, no reason to waste time, right? 6th best in the SEC, coming in at 87%. Texas 9 of 10 from the line tonight. Rebels have a lot of options. Here's Barnes, guarded by Mark.
They're denying Padula, so they're trying to use him as a screener.
And the 3 is no good from Barnes. See if they get Trey Johnson in ISO. He's guarded by Morrell, and so they'll play 4-on-4. Kaluma puts up an air ball. Texas has consecutive wins. Brakefield down the paint, and he's able to finish.
And that might be the worst defensive possession of the game for Texas. Just a simple pick and pop, and for Brakefield to drive right through the center of the lane, inexcusable for Rodney Terry and his staff.
Longhorns started conference play 1-4, but they have back-to-back top 25 wins, both of those coming at home. Here's Johnson, shot clock at 8. He wants his space, working on Morrell. 3 ball, in and out. Davis, full head of steam.
Wow. Yep. Twice they've just parted the lane. Here's the Brakefield drive that you know Rodney Terry's going to talk about in the huddle and say, guys, if we want to get back in this thing, we have got to defend and keep the ball out of the paint. Just an easy drive. If you're going to win one on the road, you got to step up, guard the ball, and have your rotations. Brakefield makes a pay on this one. 2. and he knows that they must finish games better. And an opportunity right now to defend their home court. Being at the line, 3 minutes to go. Chance to try to put Texas away here.
They couldn't do that against Texas A&M. Manny Obaski hit a game winner for A&M's only lead of the game. That was followed a couple of late turnovers for Ole Miss. Now the Rebels tied for their season low with only 4 turnovers tonight. 1 for 2 from the free throw line for Dre Davis. Starting 5 now on the floor together for Texas. Tremont Mark, same play at the game winner against A&M on Saturday, and he'll go to the free throw line.
It comes off a couple screens. It's kind of similar to an Iverson set. They used to run this play for Allen Iverson for years, where you come from one side of the court to the other and catch it on the run and rip through. Really good job by Tremont Mark, and he gets open there just in a lot of ways because of the attention Trey Johnson draws. I mean, you've got to deny him, and that makes life easier on the other perimeter players.
He has had 3 different lives as a college basketball player. First for Kelvin Sampson at Houston, where of course he stressed the importance of defense. And then at Arkansas, playing for Eric Musselman, and he said, man, Muss really gave me incredible offensive freedom. And now here at Texas, where he is Robin to Trey Johnson's Batman.
Both coaches doing offense for defense substitutions. Larry, #1 for Texas, is in for Pope. I mean, he has been a really good lockdown defender.
Ole Miss has now made 5 of 6 from the floor. Here's Padula. Got Shedrick on him. Rodney Terry all the way to midcourt, exhorting his team. Padula picks up his dribble. Shot clock at 6. Davis, a fadeaway, and Tremont Mark's got it. Longhorns can tie with a 3. Julian Larry will start the offense. Here's Mark again. Half step on Padula. Now he finds Trey Johnson, and we're tied.
Huge play by Mark. Came off the same way he did when he got to the free throw line, and the ability to look cross court and hit an open Trey Johnson. Unbelievable pass.
10th tie of this game. We've had 14 lead changes. Brakefield puts it on the floor. Into Shedrick, who's playing with 4. Chases his own miss and gets the putback. 16 for Jamin Brakefield with 1:55 to play. Ole Miss will stop the clock. We got a heavyweight battle on our hands tonight. Rebels trying to protect the home court against the surging Longhorns.
Cut off, spins back to his offhand and jumps in the air, but knows the help defense is sinking on his drive, and Trey Johnson is always locked and loaded from the perimeter.
Johnson has now turned it up. 11 in each half. Here's Jordan Pope, and now Shedrick looking for Kaluma. They sink in on Kaluma.
Yeah, they want to feed Kaluma and have Trey Johnson come ball side for him.
Kaluma going to work. Well defended by Ole Miss. He has nowhere to go. Late in the clock. Mark, the lefty. Tried to reverse it. Shedrick there to pick him up. Driving from his weak side, and we are tied again for the 11th time tonight.
I think you got to find Padula. Larry, their best perimeter defender, not in the game. Get 3 and wipe the ball.
Here he is. Driving on Pope. Tried to step through. Got it. Texas wanted to travel. Padula's got 19. Under a minute to play, and the Rebels up 2. Timeout taken by Rodney Terry.
Really nice job by Padula. I've said it before. He's so crafty in the lane, does a terrific job. He's so patient. Pump fake, gets the angle. Legal move with that step floater. Such a nice touch and an efficient player. And it's one of those you don't want to waste all your timeouts if you're Rodney Terry, but after you tie it at 68, do you call a quick one to get your best defensive team in, but you don't want to waste the timeout as well.
14 ties and 11 lead changes. Padula and Davis have led the Rebels. Trey Johnson, after a sluggish start to the second half, has finally gotten it going. And Texas jumped out to an early 13-point lead. And then the Rebels chipped away at that thing. When you talk about the importance of this game for both sides, this is an Ole Miss team, Dane, that has lost 3 in a row, which can happen in this league. Their next 2 games are against Arkansas and Kentucky, 2 of the most powerful teams in the league. Auburn, yep. The best team in the country. This last 51 seconds is huge for Chris Beard.
Yeah, it's a mental challenge as well. This is an Ole Miss team that needs to prove to themselves they can finish games. Its foundation is built on toughness for Chris Beard, and right now they've got a huge opportunity, but they must secure the defensive rebound. That's what got them in a hole a little bit in the first half. First shot defense is good. It's the second chance opportunities that have hurt them.
Rebels are 1-3 in one-possession games, including their lone home loss here to Texas A&M. They also had a 2-point loss to Purdue. That was the lone blemish in their first 16 games. And they lost in overtime. A fantastic environment at the Hump against Mississippi State back on January 18th. Kaluma takes it against Padula. Got him on the floor. They said the foul was on the floor. And Kaluma going to the free throw line.
Well, they've got so many options, does Texas. Really 4 offensive threats out there with the ball. And they're going to run this. Could be a handoff fake there. And then you got Johnson in that strong side corner. So there is no way Matthew Morrell is going to help off of Trey Johnson. That's his false help. And that's a great play design by Rodney Terry. Good drive by Kaluma.
Arthur Kaluma is a 79% free throw shooter. We've got blood on Dre Davis, and so he'll have to be tended to. John Rabin is the head athletic trainer for Ole Miss. And this is an opportunity for both sides to steal a timeout. It's on his right elbow. They get him patched up.
Tom, we talked about what a big opportunity this is for Ole Miss to defend their home court, get off that 3-game losing streak. But from a tournament resume standpoint, this is enormous for Texas. Back-to-back top 25 wins, but if you can go on the road and get a win at Ole Miss, a huge quad 1 opportunity, the biggest measuring stick for the selection committee.
First free throw attempt of the night for Arthur Kaluma. Got it. And to your point, just to pay that off, Joe Lunardi has Texas on the right side of the bubble, but squarely on it, and they could secure, before we end the month of January, their spot with another big win. Chris Beard's going to send a sub in. Jalen Murray will enter for David Barnes. .500-point score, Arthur Kaluma. 1 of 2 from the line. Ole Miss leads by 1, 45 to play. Larry was calling out the play. Padula got a step on him. Got to the glass, and Kaluma with the rebound. 32 seconds left.
Went early, didn't he?
Sure did. 4-second difference, game clock and shot clock. Rodney Terry says, let's talk about it, and uses the final Texas timeout.
Texas chose not to foul. They were going to play it out. I don't mind the drive itself, and Padula has been the best player offensively for Ole Miss. Just thought he could have taken a little bit more time, and especially if you have Larry on you, see if you can't get a ball screen and get an angle or a mismatch because of Larry's defensive skills on the perimeter.
Well, for Texas, plenty of options offensively, not the least of which is the man with the clutch gene, Tremont Mark, who's hit 4 game winners in his college career going back to his Houston days. He had a midcourt shot against Memphis. He had a game-winning tip-in. He beat A&M as a Razorback last year at the buzzer, and then he beat A&M again this year just a few days ago.
Yeah, but I still like trying to find a way to get Kaluma the ball because Ole Miss is playing small right now. Dia's on the bench, and they are willing right now to have Brakefield as the 5. And Brakefield is really talented, very skilled, but he's not huge in terms of a defensive presence down low. So if I'm Texas, I try not to settle from deep, even though you got some sharpshooters. See if you can't get to the rim. Even if you miss, I think there's offensive rebounding opportunities against this smaller lineup for Ole Miss.
Rebels trying to protect their home court. They are 9-1 here in the Pavilion, leading by 1 with 26 seconds left. And Chris Beard sees the lineup and used the timeout for Ole Miss. Here's how Texas ended the last game. This was against their rivals. They had yet to lead until this moment for Tremont Mark.
What a big-time play here. A&M lets him get to his left hand, but they're also conditioned to put people on that sideline. So Wade Taylor wasn't worried about right hand, left hand. The help didn't come soon enough. Big-time play.
It was interesting. Byron Jones, assistant coach for Texas, coaches up the out-of-bounds plays, and he used that play to show his team the difference between winning and losing in this league, closing out on the wrong side of a left-handed shooter. To your point, that's kind of what A&M does, but it costs them in that moment.
It's the attention to detail. I mean, all these games, it seems like, in the SEC are coming down to the wire, and film room can be exhausting. All these coaches are trying to dumb it down and saying, all right, here are the few key things personnel-wise you must be conscious of all game long. And that attention span must last for the entire game. You can't take a play off or it could cost you.
So Trey Johnson will inbound it. Both teams in the bonus. Texas is out of timeouts.
We talked about Trey Johnson being held in check in the second half, but then all he's done is put up another 11 for 22.
They are denying Trey Johnson on the wing. Matthew Morrell all over him. From midcourt, 10 on the shot clock. Johnson picks up eyes off the glass. No good. Follow tip is no good. Rebels secure the rebound. Kaluma mistimed his jump. And with 8.9 remaining, the Rebels have a chance to salt it away.
You're exactly right, Tom. If that ball doesn't graze the rim, I think Kaluma has a putback dunk. But it hits that rim ever so slightly and just causes his timing to be off. Johnson draws 2 defenders. There's not enough people to box out on the other side, and Ole Miss secures the rebound with Barnes, who had a chance to ice the game against Texas A&M as well. Here he has a chance to redeem himself.
Matthew Morrell went to the trainer as soon as that whistle was blown. They're giving him a little bit of time on the Ole Miss bench. I think it's maybe contact came out. Yeah, that's the case. And so he'll address that. Will be given time to do so. And Chris Beard says let's use more time. And he'll burn the final timeout of the game for Ole Miss. 70-69.
Well, I think the psychology for your team is huge right now. This is an Ole Miss team that needs to be in that huddle with the confidence of a top 25 team at home. But when you lose a couple games, late possession, sometimes you can have the mindset of playing not to lose or getting tight at the free throw line. And this Ole Miss team must be playing to win, step up to that line with a ton of confidence, and no matter what happens on the other end, you're going to find a way to get this win because you got a 1-point lead. Whether he makes it or not, you're going to get a stop and get out of here holding Texas to 69. That's got to be the message from Chris Beard.
Rebels trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. Longhorns looking for their 3rd straight win against a ranked opponent. Coming out of the timeout, Ole Miss will be at the free throw line. 8.9 remaining. Texas has out-rebounded Ole Miss by 10. What a scene tonight at the Pavilion, and the Ole Miss faithful has seen another close home game. And they'll get a chance to see great teams next. Auburn will be here Saturday afternoon. And then Kentucky comes here midweek. Both games will be on ESPN.
Well, with no timeouts for either team, Rodney Terry having to draw up what his game-winning or game-tying play will be. And if you're Chris Beard, you're also having the conversation of, if he makes both and we're up 3, do we foul?
David Barnes is 4 for 4 from the free throw line today. Nobody on the lane for Ole Miss. 1-1. If there's a miss, how quickly can Trey Johnson get into scoring position? One more coming. Barnes perfect from the line. Senior from Memphis. Drills it.
That is mental toughness for a guy that missed it against A&M to step up, make 2 clutch.
Here's Pope. 6. Gives it up. Mark. The 4. Mark to Trey Johnson for the tie. It was right there. And Ole Miss snaps a 3-game losing streak by knocking off Texas 72-69. The former Texas coach Chris Beard in his first game as Ole Miss's coach against his former squad gets the win, but Texas got the look it wanted.
You're right, Tom. I mean, there could not have been a cleaner look for Trey Johnson. 38% on the year from 3. Your future lottery pick, 22 points on the night, and they push in transition, and Morrell just gets a little bit lost here as he's trying to cover up the middle. And wow, he loves that corner area, whether it's mid-range or 3. Just did not get it to go, and Ole Miss survives and gets back in the winning column.
Only 4 turnovers tonight for the Rebels. They protect the basketball. They get 19 from Sean Padula. Trey Johnson pours in 22 for Texas, but it's not enough. And the Rebels, with Auburn coming to town this weekend, will come in with some momentum. For Dane Bradshaw, fantastic crew. I'm Tom Hart.